Welcome back everybody to Investing in Milwaukee. Today I want to take you on a tour in a nicer part in the suburbs. This is a property that I've bought 7 years ago. We had a great tenant in here for the entire time, for 7 years. They just moved out. And I wanted to talk to you about the choices that we make with materials and with designs. Because when you rent in a nice part of town and you're asking a good amount of rent, then people also have high expectations. So this is a 1,800 square foot ranch with 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. We kept some of the original elements, but not everything. Some of the things have been updated. Right in here we have living room with the LED lighting we've added. I'll talk about that in a second. Then you'll go through here to the kitchen. We'll take a look around here. We did preserve the original fireplace, which is a great feature. People really liked it, but we usually retire them, so they're not active anymore. But it's still there as a focal piece, and out there you have a deck with privacy fence. So we always think about how is living in a property, and if we would live here, we would definitely want to have a privacy fence because the neighbors on this side are relatively close, so it's good to have a little bit of a distance. Before we get into the nitty-gritty details of the remodeling that we're doing here, let me quickly talk a little bit about financing, at least in the context of rent. So when we bought this property, I had to put down 30%. In order to get financing. It was basically a break-even situation, so not a cash flow play. It was never meant to be one. The initial rent here was $19.50, and at that point it was just breaking even. Now we are going to rent this out once we're done here for $2,650, and at that point it will actually cash flow quite well. One of the things that I liked when I bought the property was that the driveway was already done. Concrete lasts in our climate maybe 50 to 70 years, and a lot of these properties are from the 1960s. And if you ever have to replace the driveway, you know that's a lot of money. This one in particular is very large, so you have a lot of square footage, and this will probably be over $10,000 if you were to do it today. All right, what the heck am I showing you here? So water management is definitely an issue here in Milwaukee, and you have to do this right. We have here a backyard that's relatively flat, so getting the water away from the gutters and also from the sump pump far enough from the foundation is always critical. 9 out of 10 times, any issues that are water related in the basement, you can trace back to something that's going on the outside. And what we did here is we're running the gutters from the downspouts right into a 4-inch PVC pipe, and then also the discharge from the sump pump. That's the little pipe that's coming out here on the side that also goes in there. And then we take the whole thing and we drain it out to the front yard. Talking about rain, the other thing that's really important is the roof. So whenever you're buying a property that already has a new roof installed, that's around about $10,000 in the bank, I would say. Especially if it's good dimensional shingles. They should last here in our climate for about 25 up to 30 years. The manufacturer says 30 years, but that's usually not quite the case. And dimensional shingles are definitely much better than the cheaper 3-tab ones. So that's actually foolish in my opinion to put something on like this, because they last 15 years at best and you're still paying the same amount for the labor. So if you do that, spend the money, buy the good shingles, and know that you are done for at least 25 years. By the way, roofs never start leaking on just a flat area. They usually start leaking at a penetration point. So that could be a chimney, that could be a roof valley, or a vent pipe that is sticking out through the roof. Around that flashing, that is usually where it starts leaking. And we did check on this one, just did a routine roof inspection, and sure enough, what we found is that the chimney flashing, even though it looked pretty good from the ground, actually had started leaking, and we had some terrible weather. The last week we had a ton of rain, and I checked in the attic, and sure enough, we had some wet insulation there. So I'm really happy that we found it before we had tenants move in here, because now it's an easy fix. We'll just do that as soon as we can get to it, and then we know it's going to be in good shape for at least the next 10 years. We usually don't opt for granite countertops because they always take a couple weeks to install. In this case, they were already here. Our default is a really nice high quality laminate countertop, which can be installed by a carpenter in an afternoon, and they look almost as nice. What else is important in a kitchen? Obviously appliances. So this is very high on the wish list of our target tenants. If you want to attract nice tenants, in my opinion, you have to invest in nice appliances. Used appliances are a complete no-no for the demographic that we're targeting. That's not true for all rental properties. So we always have a package of 4 stainless steel appliances. We have usually a French door refrigerator, a dishwasher, a microwave with a built-in exhaust vent, and then a smooth glass electric cooktop. I know in this case we have a gas here that was already here, but generally I like the glass cooktop because it's very easy to clean and you don't get them, dirty and baked up like the gas usually do. They're kind of harder to clean. A few things that I think are important on the appliances. On the refrigerator, we spend a little bit more and we get the nice French door ones with an ice and water maker. And when you hook them up, don't use the cheap plastic water line that comes with it. Always spend an extra 20 bucks on getting the braided steel water line, totally worth it. Dishwasher is the same thing. What you pay is what you get. So we usually go for a little higher quality and not just the cheapest appliance that we can get. And generally with brands, we like sticking with GE. So if there is a fireplace in our properties like this one, we usually embrace it as a visual focal point, but we decommission it functionally. So that means we're capping it on the top with the chimney, then we stuff it with insulation, and we install these glass doors here in the front. Tenants can put some candles here. It's still a nice focal point, but A, we don't want to have a live fire in our properties. Then secondly, there's a lot of issues that come with firewood. You're bringing in a lot of dirt, you're bringing in a lot of bugs, then you have a pile of unused firewood in the yard. So there's just a whole lot messing around that it's, in my opinion, not worth it. So we keep the fireplace as a focal point, but we retire it functionally. By the way, if you want to learn more about Milwaukee real estate, check out my primary channel. It is called Living in Milwaukee, has everything about Milwaukee real estate, the best neighborhoods, and of course my monthly market updates with a lot of market data. I'll see you over there, and with that, back to the video. Flooring is another big topic when it comes to rental properties. Number one, it is a big expense item. So whenever you're replacing flooring, that's a huge cost in every turnover. So you want something that lasts for a long time, but it also really defines a space. So nice flooring can really elevate a space, and that helps you getting higher rents because it looks really cool. So in Milwaukee, we have a lot of natural hardwood floors. So 3/4 solid oak is very common here. And when I got started, we usually opted for refinishing the old hardwood floors. They kind of turn orange over the years. And if they are still in good shape, you can just sand them down and then have them refinished. That is one option. But what I've learned that in the really high traffic areas, it doesn't really stand up to the daily use very well. So after 10 years, it kind of wears down and you have to start over again. So in the last years, we pretty much switched over, at least for the high traffic areas, to LVP. That is a relatively new product. It became really mainstream in the last 5 years. And the LVP that I'm using here is actually a product from Home Depot. It's called LifeProof. And this is what it looks like on the front. So I really like the design, and it also comes already with the underlayment here on the backside attached. One word of caution, don't opt for the cheap stuff because A, it doesn't sound really well when you step on it, when you walk on it, really degrades the whole experience. And then secondly, also the wear layer is thinner. So it pays to opt at least for the mid-range quality and not for the cheap stuff, because you will have it for longer. And also it looks really great. So I'm really happy with how this turned out with the new LVP flooring and with the LED lighting and the paint job. This is just perfect and ready to go. All right, let's talk about material choices for bathrooms. We're here in the main bathroom. Obviously, construction is still going on. We're not done here, but the LVP flooring is already in. You can see here, this is more of a grayish, stonish looking color. That's always what we choose for the bathrooms. That look seems to work better for bathrooms. We had to replace this window here because that was leaking down into the basement a little bit. So we had some drywall damage there. Good thing we caught that. and then double sink vanity. That all built-in mirror will get a frame. We just built this right out of the same trim material as the door. Give it a rattle can spray paint job in silver. Looks like $1 million. We always replace doors. So this is a solid pine 6-panel wood door. We buy them for about $120, spray them white. It looks a lot more solid. It feels a lot more solid. So this is really a great choice. And you can keep you don't have to replace the entire door. So this door jamb here, and you can see the hinges, those are original. We just replaced the slab and rip out that cheap hollow core. And then here we used to have a tile shower that we have taken out. We always use these Sterling units. They are caulkless, very easy to install, takes about an hour. We know that they will never leak because there is no caulking. That's the problem always with the tile showers. They look beautiful, but they're very maintenance intense. And these guys, I just have confidence that they last. This is a Sterling brand, and that is actually, I think you can see this here, yeah. Sterling is an off-brand from Kohler. So this is a really good product that lasts, that cleans really well, and we have really good experience with that. And so this is our go-to standard for all of the bathrooms. All right, last stop, let's talk about finished basements. I know they're very controversial amongst investors. I'm catching a lot of heat for that because we kind of always finish our basements. And there's usually two arguments. You don't make your money back, that finishing a basement, you don't get higher rent, which I would say is roughly correct, maybe just a little bit more. But the main thing for me is people stay longer. With the finished basement, especially when you have kids, it gives you an extra space to get away, especially during winter, and you're not getting cabin fever when you all pack together in the living room. You can actually get away and have a little peace and quiet down here. So I think it makes our tenants happier, they stay longer, and if you know how much turnover actually costs you, then you know that over 2 or 3 years or 2 or 3 turnovers, that saves you actually a lot of money. The second argument is water, and that is always a concern with basements, especially in the Midwest, in Milwaukee. So that's the reason why we always take care of the gutters, why we're running PVC pipes out to the street to make sure that we're getting the water away from the house, or at least have long downspout extensions that are getting the water away from the foundation. So since we've done this basement has been cotton dry, so that stuff really works. And then it comes down to choosing the correct type of flooring. So one approach that we've tried in the past was to go with something waterproof like tile or LVP. The problem is it starts sounding like a parking garage down here. The acoustic is not very nice, gets very echoey, and you want this to be a homey space where you can retreat in the winter. So carpet is the better choice. The issue with regular carpet is that you have carpet pad underneath, and if you get any kind of humidity or moisture into that carpet pad, it's really hard to get it out, even with the carpet fan. Then it starts smelling musty, it turns moldy. So carpet is just not a good solution for basements with the regular carpet pad. But we found this material here, and I'll show you. This is actually an indoor-outdoor carpet. This is what it looks on the front. So it's kind of a charcoal gray, and it doesn't have a rubber backing. You can see here it's got these glue strips, but in between it's just open. So any type of humidity that you get introduced into this floor, it's made for outdoors, it will dry right up. And if it gets under it, it doesn't get stuck under the rubber backing. And it installs relatively easy. So this comes in these 24 by 24 pieces, and they just peel and stick. And we've been using them now for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, and we're really happy with the results. The other thing that you may notice in here is that we did not drywall the ceiling, because that is really a cost consideration. And also when you have a lower basement, it kind of makes it even lower if you put a drywall ceiling on top. So the cheapest way, and in many ways also the better way, is just to spray it. We use a special paint that's made for this application. It's like a charcoal gray with a flat finish. It's like a commercial look. You see this sometimes in restaurants or in shopping malls. So it's kind of trendy, and it works really well for a basement space, goes fast, and is really cost effective. And we really like the look, and it also works well with the dark flooring in here. You can spray right over the utility lines. You just have to make sure any water pipes that you have that are cold, they start sweating, so it might be a good idea to get some insulation on them before you spray them out. And then we just use regular LED remodeling cans. In this case, we have 4, and that's plenty for this space. And as always, we put it on a dimmer switch. That is the best $20 you can spend. So if somebody wants to have a movie night on here, you just use your dimmer to make it nice and cozy here. So that's perfect for a long winter night. I hope you had a few good takeaways from this video, and I was able to show you a trick or two that you can add to your tool belt. Would love to hear from you how you do things. If you have any questions for the things that I've shown you here, you can just put them in the comments below. I usually make it a point to answer them personally. You can also reach out to me if you're interested in buying an investment property here in Milwaukee, regardless if you're local or if you're out of state. We do this all the time. Obviously, that's where my background is. You can reach out to me via email, for example. That's m.auerbach@kw.com. Would love to hear from a fellow investor. And you can also find me on Bigger Pockets, of course. I spend there usually an hour every morning answering questions on the forums. What else do I have for you? Website, onpointrg.com. So onpointrg.com, you can request their access to the MLS. You can also set up a call with me there. And of course, check out my main channel, which is called Living in Milwaukee. That's more for residential real estate, but it showcases a lot of the Milwaukee neighborhoods, so you can get an idea of what Milwaukee actually looks like, at least the nice neighborhoods. And also I have a monthly market update, so if you enjoy data, that's all about data, what's happening in Milwaukee, why is it happening, you can find that in the monthly market update. That's all I had for you. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you at the next one.